big shout out to LitRPG Reads and that fine fellow Paul Bello for giving us this awesome article to really dive into today.
Bardic influence.
Yeah, bardic influence in D&D.
I was excited.
I mean, honestly, as soon as I saw the title, I was like, oh, we gotta share this with everybody who doesn't love a good bard story.
Exactly.
Right? And it just reminded me of this one campaign I was in where our party was trying to infiltrate this super secret, heavily guarded fortress. And we were totally out of our depth.
Oh, no.
Things were looking really grim.
Yeah.
And then our bard, who was always a bit of a wild card, gets this crazy idea.
Oh, boy.
He decides to throw this huge party right outside the fortress gates.
What?
Complete with music and dancing and enough ale to drown a kraken.
Really?
I know we all thought he was nuts.
Uh-huh.
But we went along with it.
Okay.
And wouldn't you know it, the guards, completely distracted by the festivities, let their guard down.
Wow.
And our bard, disguised as like a simple entertainer,
oh, sweet,
waltzed right in.
No way.
Swiped the artifact we were after, and we all slipped out while everybody was busy having a grand old time.
Oh, that's brilliant.
Classic bard move.
I love it.
You know, using cunning and creativity and a whole lot of charisma to outsmart the enemy.
That's what they do.
It really is.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what this article from LitRPG reads.
The
art of bardic influence and its power to shape epic D&D stories is all about.
I like that title.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Yeah.
It's about how bards can use their performance skills, not just to entertain, but to like strategically influence events.
I see.
Create those legendary moments and really leave a mark on the world.
Yeah.
One of the things that I found super intriguing was this concept of the performance style matrix.
Okay.
And it breaks down how different performance styles can be used tactically.
All right. I'm interested.
So you've got music, which the article describes as like tapping into emotional resonance and mood alteration.
Yep.
Like using music to boost morale during a tough fight, or maybe to sweeten a tense negotiation.
I can see that.
Then you've got oratory, the power of words to persuade, influence, and tell captivating stories.
Powerful stuff.
Yeah, this could be anything from inspiring your allies to stand strong against impossible odds to diffusing a conflict before it explodes into like all-out chaos.
Right.
And of course, let's not forget dance, which the article says uses visual appeal, rhythmic charm, and captivating movements.
Ooh, fancy.
I know, right? Imagine using dance to distract guards or enhance a social encounter or even add a layer of flair to a diplomatic mission.
Wow. I'm already buzzing with ideas.
I know I am too, but what do you think? How can players and dungeon masters actually use this performance-style matrix to create truly memorable and impactful moments in their games?
What I find fascinating about this performance-style matrix is how it elevates the bard beyond just a performer.
Yeah.
It's like they're not just there for entertainment value. They are masterful strategists,
right,
weaving their art form into the very fabric of the game. Yeah.
They're choosing their performance style to achieve specific goals, to manipulate situations, and ultimately to influence the narrative itself.
It's like they're playing a game within a game.
Exactly.
Using music and oratory and dance as their weapons of choice.
I like that.
Right.
Yeah. They analyze the situation, they assess their audience, and then they carefully select the style that will give them the best advantage.
I see.
And it's not just about the style itself. The article goes deeper.
Okay.
Exploring how the choice of instrument can further enhance the bard's tactical approach.
I like it.
There's this instrument framework that breaks down the strengths and weaknesses of different instrument families.
Okay.
So, for instance, stringed instruments with their portability and capacity for evoking deep emotions. They're ideal for intimate settings and delicate negotiations. Imagine a bard plucking a lute to soothe a grieving spirit.
Okay.
Or using a harp to create an atmosphere of trust during a tense treaty signing.
Then you have percussion instruments, which are all about raw power and driving rhythms.
Yeah.
Those are your battle cries, your calls to action, the soundtrack to epic confrontations.
Gotcha.
Think of a bard pounding on war drums to embolden their allies as they charge into the fray.
Yeah.
Or using a bodhran to create a frenzy of energy during a festival.
I can hear it.
And finally, we have wind instruments, known for their haunting melodies and soaring crescendos.
Beautiful.
These are the instruments of lament and triumph, capable of expressing a vast range of emotions.
Powerful stuff.
Imagine a bard playing a mournful flute solo to commemorate fallen comrades.
Okay.
Or using a triumphant trumpet fanfare to announce the arrival of a conquering hero.
Oh, I love it.
It's incredible how much depth this adds to the bard's repertoire.
Yeah.
It's like they have a whole arsenal of sonic tools at their disposal.
Right.
Each one carefully chosen to suit the situation and achieve a specific outcome. And this raises an interesting question for both of us, and especially for our listener who's eager to put this knowledge into action.
Yeah.
How can a dungeon master leverage this understanding of instruments to design more dynamic encounters and challenge their players to think creatively about their bard's musical choices?
It's mind-blowing, isn't it?
Yeah,
It really flips the script on how we think about instruments in a fantasy setting.
For sure.
They're not just background noise, they're strategic assets.
Right.
And speaking of crafting impactful moments, the article goes even deeper into musical mastery,
Ooh,
exploring the elements of songcraft.
interesting.
It talks about melody and harmony as tools to sculpt emotions,
Wow.
rhythm to establish pacing and structure, and lyrics as a powerful way to weave intricate narratives.
Amazing.
Think about it with just a few carefully chosen notes. A bard can stir feelings of hope, fear, or even love in their audience.
It's true.
They can use rhythm to build tension, create anticipation, or lull their listeners into a trance.
Powerful stuff.
And with lyrics, they can tell stories, deliver messages, and even plant subtle suggestions that can sway decisions and influence actions.
That's incredible.
Have you ever encountered a bard in your own gaming experience who used these elements of songcraft in a truly ingenious or unexpected way?
Oh, absolutely. I'm dying to hear about it. I once played in a campaign where we were framed for a crime we didn't commit.
Oh, no.
And we were brought before the king.
Oh.
Things were looking pretty dire.
Yikes.
I tried to plead our innocence,
Yeah.
but the evidence was stacked against us.
Oh, wow.
And then our bard, who had been unusually quiet up to that point, stepped forward.
Okay.
And instead of launching into a rousing ballad or a persuasive speech, he began to sing a simple, haunting melody.
Wow.
The lyrics told a story not of our innocence,
Okay.
but of a legendary hero who had been falsely accused and imprisoned.
Interesting.
The song was filled with sorrow, longing for freedom, and a quiet determination to overcome adversity.
Right.
It was a subtle yet incredibly powerful performance that resonated with the king on a deep emotional level.
I bet.
The king, visibly moved by the song, began to question the evidence against us.
Really?
He ordered a thorough investigation, and eventually the truth was revealed.
Wow.
We were exonerated, all thanks to the bard's masterful use of songcraft.
That's incredible.
It was a perfect example of how a bard can use their art to subtly influence perceptions, sway opinions, and even change the course of events.
Oh, that's amazing.
And you know what's really interesting is that the article doesn't stop at music.
Huh?
It also delves into the power of oratory,
Okay.
emphasizing how a bard's words can be just as potent as their melodies.
Right?
It goes beyond simply being a skilled speaker.
Yeah.
It's about becoming a master of persuasion,
Uh-huh.
a weaver of words who can captivate audiences, sway opinions, and even, dare I say, manipulate those who underestimate the power of a silver tongue.
Ooh, sneaky.
Right.
It's true. Bards really are masters of the spoken word. They can command a room with a thundering voice charm, a dragon with honeyed phrases or spin tales that transport you to another world.
That's amazing.
They understand the nuances of language, the rhythm and cadence of speech, and the power of storytelling to influence hearts and minds.
For sure.
And the article dives into this fascinating concept of speech design,
Okay.
outlining different oratory styles that bards can employ to achieve specific effects.
I'm listening.
It breaks it down into three main styles: persuasive, narrative, and commanding.
Gotcha.
Each style has its own unique strengths and applications, allowing bards to tailor their approach based on the situation and their desired outcome.
Makes sense.
So the persuasive style is all about convincing and enticing,
Okay.
using carefully chosen words and a compelling delivery to sway opinions and win over hearts.
Uh-huh.
Think of a bard using this style to negotiate a peace treaty,
Right.
secure a lucrative trade deal, or even convince a skeptical crowd to support their cause.
I can see that.
Then there's the narrative style, which focuses on captivating listeners with vivid storytelling,
Yeah.
transporting them to other worlds, and planting ideas through engaging narratives.
That's cool.
This style is perfect for sharing knowledge, entertaining a crowd, or subtly influencing decisions by by framing information in a favorable light.
Interesting.
And lastly, we have the commanding style,
Okay.
which is all about asserting authority, giving clear directives, and leaving no room for doubt.
Gotcha.
This is the style of leader generals and those who demand obedience.
Right.
A bard using this style might rally their troops before a battle, issue a challenge to a rival, or simply make their expectations crystal clear.
Yeah.
It's like having a verbal toolkit ready to be deployed in any situation.
I like it.
I'm curious, from your experience, what are some examples of how a bard might seamlessly transition between these different oratory styles, depending on the situation and their ultimate objective?
Imagine a scenario where the party is trying to negotiate with a notoriously stubborn and suspicious merchant. The bard might initially adopt a persuasive style, highlighting the mutual benefits of a deal and appealing to the merchant's sense of greed.
Okay.
They might use flattering language, offer generous terms, and emphasize the potential profits to be made.
I see.
But let's say the merchant remains unconvinced.
Oh.
The bard, sensing the need for a different approach, could seamlessly shift to the narrative style.
Right.
They might launch into a captivating tale of a faraway land, subtly weaving in details about the valuable goods they possess and the hardships they faced in acquiring them.
Interesting.
This story, while seemingly unrelated, could subtly plant the seeds of sympathy and trust in the merchant's mind, making them more receptive to the bard's proposal.
Makes sense.
Now imagine the party finds themselves in a dire situation, facing a horde of ferocious enemies.
Okay.
In this scenario, the bard might abandon subtlety altogether and adopt the commanding style. They might issue a rousing battle cry using short, impactful phrases and a booming voice to inspire their companions and instill fear in their foes.
Wow.
Their words would become weapons, urging their allies to fight with valor and strike down their enemies without mercy.
Powerful stuff.
It's fascinating how a skilled bard can effortlessly navigate these different oratorical styles.
It is.
Adapting their approach like a chameleon blending into its surroundings.
Right.
And what's truly remarkable is that this understanding of speech design isn't limited to bards.
Oh.
It's a valuable tool for any player, regardless of their chosen class.
Interesting.
It teaches us to be mindful of the power of our words, to consider how we can use language strategically, and to recognize the impact our communication style can have on those around us.
You're absolutely right. It's about understanding that every word we utter, every phrase we craft can have a ripple effect on the world around us.
Exactly.
It's like we're all bards in our own way, shaping our realities through the stories we tell and the words we choose.
That's a good point.
It's a powerful concept, and I think it's something we can all benefit from exploring further.
I agree.
But before we get too carried away, I want
to
remind everyone that we're just scratching the surface here.
Yeah.
There's so much more to unpack when it comes to bardic influence.
Yeah.
So stay tuned, because in the next part of our deep dive, we're gonna delve even deeper into the historical roots of bards, exploring how their ancient role as keepers of lore and tradition translates into the fantastical world of D&D.
I can't wait.
Trust me, you won't want to miss it.
I'll be here.
Awesome.
For sure.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. We're going to journey back in time to uncover the fascinating origins of bards and how their ancient role as keepers of lore and tradition translates into the rich tapestry of D&D.
You know, you're right.
It's a journey that will reveal just how deeply ingrained bards are in the very fabric of storytelling and adventure.
This whole discussion about tactical artistry and speech design, it really makes me think about the historical role of bards in a different light.
Mm-hmm.
They weren't just performers, they were the historians.
Right.
The myth makers.
Yeah.
The keepers of a culture's collective memory.
Exactly.
So how do you think that translates into the D&D world?
It's a crucial element, I think.
Yeah.
And D&D bards inherit that legacy, becoming living repositories of knowledge, weaving history and myth into their performances. They carry with them the weight of ancient tales, forgotten prophecies, and songs that echo with the wisdom of bygone eras.
It's like they have access to this hidden wellspring of knowledge.
Yes.
A secret archive of stories and secrets that most people wouldn't even know existed.
Exactly. And that knowledge gives them a unique perspective, allowing them to connect the dots, see patterns that others miss, and offer insights that can change the course of events.
I see.
Think about a bard who, while exploring an ancient ruin, remembers a half-forgotten ballad about a lost artifact hidden within its depths. Or a bard who, during a tense negotiation, recalls an ancient proverb that helps to bridge a cultural divide and avert conflict.
It's like they're walking libraries, carrying with them the wisdom and experience of countless generations.
Precisely.
That's awesome.
And they don't hoard this knowledge.
Right.
They share it, weaving it into their performances, using stories and songs to inspire, educate, and even warn those who listen.
It's this amazing blend of entertainment and enlightenment.
I agree.
They're not just telling you a story, they're inviting you to learn from it.
Right.
To grow from it.
Yeah.
To see the world in a new way.
And that's what makes them such compelling characters in D&D. They're not just about flash and spectacle. They have this depth, this understanding of the past and its connection to the present that sets them apart.
Right.
They remind us that every action has consequences, that history repeats itself, and that the choices we make today can shape the future.
It's like they're the voice of history, whispering its secrets and urging us to listen. But they're also incredibly dynamic and adaptable.
They are.
They take that ancient wisdom and apply it to the challenges of the present.
Yeah.
Using their knowledge to solve problems, overcome obstacles, and inspire those around them.
And that adaptability is key.
Right.
They don't get bogged down in tradition or dogma. They embrace change, blending the old with the new, and constantly evolving their art to meet the demands of a changing world.
Yeah.
It's this unique combination of wisdom and innovation that makes them such valuable assets to any adventuring party.
They're the bridge between the past and the future.
Yes.
The keepers of tradition who are also always pushing boundaries and exploring new possibilities.
And that's what makes them so relevant even in a fantastical world like D&D.
Right.
They remind us of the importance of storytelling, of preserving our history, and of using our creativity to shape the world around us.
They're the embodiment of the idea that stories have power.
Yes.
That words can change hearts and minds, and that music can transcend barriers and unite us all.
Absolutely. Right. And I think that's something we can all learn from, whether we're seasoned adventurers or just starting our journey in the world of D&D.
Right.
We all have stories to tell, lessons to share, and the power to inspire those around us.
It's about embracing that inner bard.
Exactly.
That creative spark within each of us.
Yeah.
And using it to make the world a more vibrant, meaningful, and adventurous place.
Well said.
Thanks.
But let's not forget that bards are also masters of performance.
Right.
Skilled in the art of captivating an audience and leaving a lasting impression.
Yeah.
So what are some of the ways they achieve this beyond the technical aspects we've already discussed?
You know, one of the things that always strikes me about bards is their incredible stage presence.
Yes.
It's like they command attention without even trying. There's a certain charisma, a confidence that draws you in and makes you want to listen.
It's like they radiate this energy, this passion for their art that's contagious. They make you believe in the stories they tell, the emotions they express, and the world they create through their performance.
Exactly. It's not just about hitting the right notes or delivering a flawless speech.
Right.
It's about connecting with your audience on a deeper level. Sharing a part of yourself.
Yeah.
And inviting them to share in the experience.
And that connection is key.
I agree.
It's what transforms a simple performance into something truly unforgettable.
Right.
It's the difference between a musician playing notes and a bard weaving magic with their music.
It's like they're tapping into something primal.
Yes.
Something universal that resonates with everyone, regardless of their background or beliefs.
Exactly.
It's the power of human connection, amplified through the artistry of the bard.
And that brings us back to the magic of bardic influence.
Right.
It's not just about spells and illusions.
Okay.
It's about the magic of storytelling, the magic of music, and the magic of human connection.
It's about using those tools to create something special. Something that moves people, inspires them, and stays with them long after the performance is over.
And you know what's really interesting is that this kind of magic isn't limited to the stage or the game table. It's something we encounter in our everyday lives.
Okay.
Think about the charismatic speaker who captivates a room, the storyteller who transports you to another world, or the musician who moves you to tears with their music.
Yeah.
They're all tapping into that same bardic energy, using their art to connect with others, share their passions, and leave a lasting impact on the world.
It's a powerful reminder that we all have the potential to be bards in our own way.
We do.
We all have stories to tell.
Yes.
Experiences to share, and the ability to inspire those around us.
It's about finding that creative spark within ourselves.
Right.
Nurturing it and using it to bring joy, wonder, and a little bit of magic into the lives of those around us.
It's about embracing our inner bard and letting our voices be heard.
Beautifully said.
Thanks.
And on that note, I think it's time to wrap up our deep dive.
Okay.
But before we go, we want to hear from you.
What about you out there in the audience? What's the most memorable instance you've experienced, either as a player or a dungeon master, where a bard's performance truly shaped the game's story?
We'd love to hear your tales of inspiration, intrigue, and maybe even a little bit of chaos.
Yeah.
Share your stories in the comments below, and let's keep this conversation going.
It's funny, we often think about these grand epic moments when we talk about bards.
Right.
But sometimes it's the smaller, quieter moments that truly stick with you.
You're absolutely right. Yeah. It's often the subtle touches, the unexpected acts of kindness or cunning that reveal the true depth of a bard's influence.
Exactly. I remember this one game where our party was traveling through this war-torn region.
Oh, wow.
And we came across a village that had been ravaged by bandits.
Oh, no.
And the atmosphere was heavy with grief and despair.
I can only imagine the scene. It must have felt like the weight of the world was pressing down on everyone.
It was heartbreaking. But our bard, instead of launching into some grand, uplifting performance, did something completely unexpected.
What did she do?
She simply sat down in the middle of the village square.
Okay.
And started playing this soft, melancholic melody on her flute.
What a powerful image.
Yeah.
Using music not to distract from the pain, but to acknowledge it, to create a space for shared grief and healing.
It was incredible.
Wow.
The villagers, drawn to the music, slowly gathered around her.
Okay.
Some wept openly, others just sat in silence, lost in their thoughts.
Yeah.
But there was this sense of unity, of shared sorrow that started to emerge.
I see.
And as the bard's music filled the air, the atmosphere slowly began to shift.
Really?
The oppressive weight of despair seemed to lift, replaced by a glimmer of hope.
Wow.
A sense of resilience in the face of tragedy.
It's a beautiful example of how a bard can use their art to touch people's hearts, to offer solace and comfort in the darkest of times.
Yeah, it wasn't about slaying dragons or saving the world.
Right.
It was about offering a moment of peace, a shared space for healing, and a glimmer of hope in the midst of despair.
And that's what makes bards so special.
Yeah.
They have this innate ability to connect with people on an emotional level, to see the world through a lens of empathy and compassion, and to use their art to make a difference no matter how small.
It's like they have this sixth sense.
I agree.
This intuition that allows them to read a room, understand the unspoken needs of those around them, and tailor their performance to create the desired effect.
They're masters of nuance, able to shift their style, tone, and delivery to match the situation and achieve their goals.
Right.
It's like they have a whole repertoire of social and emotional tools at their disposal, and they know exactly which one to use to achieve the desired outcome.
It's true.
And it's not just about manipulation or control.
Right.
It's about understanding the power of connection, of using their art to build bridges, foster understanding, and create a more harmonious world.
And that's what I think Paul Bello, fine fellow, captures so brilliantly in this article.
He does.
It's not just about the mechanics of bardic performance. It's about the heart of it, the soul of it.
Yeah.
It's about recognizing the power of art to inspire, to heal, to connect us, and to make the world a more beautiful and meaningful place.
He really nails it, doesn't he? And it makes you realize that we all have a bit of that bardic spirit within us.
I do.
We all have the power to touch lives, to inspire change, and to make a difference in the world, even in our own small ways.
It's about finding that creative spark within ourselves.
Yes.
Nurturing it.
Yeah.
And using it to bring joy, wonder, and a little bit of magic into the lives of those around us.
It's about embracing our inner bard and letting our voices be heard.
Beautifully said.
Yeah.
And on that note, I think it's time to wrap up our deep dive.
But before we go, we want to hear from you. What are your thoughts on bardic influence?
Yeah, what are some of your favorite bard moments, either from your own games or from the stories you've read?
Right, share your thoughts and experiences in the comments below.
We'd love to hear from you.
And until next time, keep playing those games, keep telling those stories, and keep the magic of bardic influence alive.
A huge thanks again to Paul Bello, fine fellow, for giving us this incredible article to explore.
He's a great guy.
We'll see you next time on The Deep Dive.